the tractor kind of started spinning as we were stretching this stretch of fence here. And you know, I asked my wife, I said, is it tight yet? And she was like, you can keep going, you can keep going. So I dropped that thing in 4-wheel drive and kept on bagging up. And it was just walking back, walking back, walking back. And I was like, is it tight yet? She was like, yeah, I think so. And by the time I got off the tractor, I realized I was walking the pole out the ground. Like literally the pole was just leaning over.
I.A.G Farms, it's all about God. So we're just nearing the end of our fencing project. We have all of the fence up right now on all 4 sides, as you can see here. And our next step will be to tie off this pole here, and then we have space here for 2 of the farm gates that we have there. So we'll be putting those farm gates up, and that will complete this paddock. So we'll have this paddock fenced off and ready, and hopefully once we stay off of it, the grass will grow in nice and thick, and then we'll be able to continue on down building the fence paddock by paddock, line by line. But yeah, we're pretty happy with how things have turned out. Mistakes were made, but we just learned along the process, and ultimately the fence is pretty tight. Let's see if I can see how it bounces back. It's pretty tight, so that's what is important to us, and we got it to that point. So that's where we are now. Tim is over there finishing up, tying off that last pole. But I just wanted to just walk around the fence and give y'all a look to see what we've done so far. So we definitely learned some things from this fence and getting it tight. So these poles, even though they are big and heavy, they will actually move if you're pulling the fence with the tractor. So we kind of have to stop, like pull a little bit, stop, check the fence, check the pole, make sure we're not pulling it too much, because we might not just be able to get it super duper tight by pulling it with the tractor, but we can finish off tightening it when we secure it to the post. So we're thinking that there's some sort of sweet spot in terms of the tightness of the fence, where you want it tight but not so tight or pulling on it so much that you'll actually move the pole. So we're trying to figure out what that sweet spot is, but we definitely learned a lot when we did this paddock, and we'll just apply that knowledge to the next paddock as we continue to work. So that's where we are now. What are your thoughts, observations so far about the fence?
It's doing good. We're learning. As my wife said, I heard over there talking to y'all, we're learning, you know, what to do, what not to do. We're learning that a 4-wheel drive bad boy tractor has a whole lot more horsepower than a 2-wheel drive 1956 Ford 600. Because I know she showed y'all that post over there. And, you know, the tractor kind of started spinning.
It's leaning a little bit.
The tractor kind of started spinning as we were stretching this stretch of fence here. And, you know, I asked my wife, I said, is it tight yet? And she was like, you can keep going, you can keep going. So I dropped that thing in 4-wheel drive and kept on bagging up. And it was just walking back, walking back, walking back. And I was like, is it tight yet? She was like, yeah, I think so. And by the time I got off the tractor, I realized I was walking the pole out the ground. Like literally the pole was just leaning over. But yeah, that tractor has a lot of power with that 4-wheel drive. I love it, I love it. But also I was thinking about, you know, we told you all that we were gonna fence off this paddock here and then just kind of wait until the Lord sends the provisions to fence off the next paddock. Because we have, in this whole 3-4 acre fencing project, we have probably about 5, 6, 7, something like that paddocks that we're doing, so we can rotationally graze the animals. And we just had the money and the provisions to do this paddock, and we were just gonna wait until the Lord sent more provisions. But the other day, we were able to sell 2 coverts, and we got the money so we can maybe fence off the next paddock. And then once we fence off that paddock, we just keep on going until we're done with the whole pasture and fencing project. So, you know, the Lord is providing, doing amazing things, and we're just excited to be learning, you know, through this process, because you know, this is our second time doing like real fencing. You know, we fenced off the hog pen down there, and so we're trying to just learn as we go and just build our wisdom and our knowledge, you know, as we go, and just learn from our mistakes. So it's a fun process. We love it. We love it. So right now we're just up in a tie off to this pole, and then we're gonna put up our farm gates, and we need to put a gate down there as well to rotate the animals from this pasture to the next pasture. But we might wait to do that until we get this next pasture fenced off. So yep, just out here working.
So this is the pole that leaned a little bit when we were stretching the fence before, and it's good now. We'll probably just tamp it back in around. It is leaning a little bit, which is unfortunate, but we're just learning in this process. We hope though that it you know, it stays sturdy. It is about what, 4 feet at least in the ground, so we're thinking just the top moved a little bit. But this is also where we're going to place a gate. So the idea is to have access from this paddock to the paddock behind us once we build it, and then we'll just be able to take the animals and swing open the gate and let them through to the next paddock so that we can rotationally graze the animals. So that's the whole idea for that. So it'll just be from this paddock, and then the next paddock will have a gate where we can just swing open that gate and let the animals come through. So that's the whole idea for these 5 or 6 different paddocks that we're building. And we've got the first one down. We're gonna be able to start on the next one soon. So we're excited. Our sheep and our cow will definitely be excited, because we want to get them out of the mini barn area and on grass as soon as possible. So
I'm working on taking these little things here off, these barbs, so we can have a smooth wire to be able to tie out to over there. Tim Jr., grab these, put them in the thing for me, please.
Right here.
No, right there. And you just simply, on these on the top, you can just slide these off pretty easy. Here you go, bud. Alright, so I'm gonna show you one more time, because if you don't loosen it, they're tight on there. And you can spin them a little bit, but they're too tight. So you just take your fencing pliers, grab a hold of it, and just loosen it just a little bit. It don't take much, and they come right off. And I was telling my wife that if I had to choose one tool if I had to do fencing and I only had one tool to do it with, I would choose these fencing pliers, because everything that you need is wrapped up in these pliers. Now, they're the most efficient to do every job. Now, they may not be the easiest to do every job, because if I had wire cutters to cut this, it'd be easier. But the wire cutters don't have a hammer on the end, and then they can't grab stuff like these, you know. So these are pliers, wire cutters, hammer, everything you need. You can even like tighten stuff with that if you get it around. Like, it's just all type of stuff you can do with this. You can use it for all type of tools, and this is the most important tool that you're gonna have doing fence with, fencing pliers. So make sure you get you a good pair of fencing pliers, a good rusty pair, would be my preference. Because I got this pair of fencing pliers from my dad's house. They were in a bucket out in his field full of water, and I couldn't get them open. And so I set them for about 2 weeks in some oil, just some old motor oil, and they finally loosened up. And now they're broken in pretty good, but they work you pretty good, though. They give you a good hand workout. All those muscles in your hand, you're gonna use all of that, like doing like that and all that. So your hands are gonna be real strong. So but
you can do so much with them, like even like using it as a plier. You can grab, like we use it to grab this part of the fence, and when we loop it through, we pull and tighten. So you can actually pull it tighter with that, like a plier, than you can with your hand. So there's just so many uses for the fencing pliers. Like, there are times when he even goes and tries to get a pair of pliers because they're smaller, but they don't work as well as the fencing pliers. So yeah,
it's like in my household, you know, God come first, then, you know, family, and next I would say fencing pliers.
No.
So 1, God, 2nd, family, number 3, fencing pliers.
Yeah, now you're doing too much.
I'm just telling the truth. Now that number 3 may change tomorrow now. But,
when you're not doing fencing.
Exactly. As of right now, because number 3 tomorrow may be my tractor. You know? But number 3 is subject to change.
Yeah, I was just telling my husband Tim that we need to do a video on just like the tools on the farm and what they can do and what our favorite tool is and different things that we use it for. So I guess this is like part 1. Is fencing pliers are one of the most useful tools that we found on the farm so far. So, and you know, we've done a lot of fencing. It hadn't all been good fencing, or like you said, real fencing. But you know, we started out even making dog kennels and bending wire, and it was just, you know, Jesus's way of preparing us to do what we do now. Like when my husband talks about little by little, like he really has increased us little by little and taught us to do things little by little. Like we started working on dog kennels, and now we're building fence and acre pastures for cows. Yeah, so it really has been a progression.
We're just talking about how our farm started off in our backyard. And if I have some pictures, I'll link them in right here. But it started off in our backyard of our ministry base in the city. Just a little, I wouldn't even say a quarter acre, less than a quarter acre. Yeah. You know, and we had rabbits, chickens, and we would have kept putting stuff back there if the Lord wouldn't have gave us land in the country. But he gave us land in the country, so we were able to, you know, have the land and the acres to do what we need to do on. But we were faithful over the few. As the Bible says, and he'll make you rule over many. So we were faithful over that backyard. We treated it as if it was a real farm, you know. Yeah. Folks might thought we were crazy and all type of stuff. Yeah. But we treated it like it was
to us because, you know, that's all we knew. So we put on our farm boots and go out there in the chicken coop. We had, probably at least 40, maybe even 50 chickens.
We had hundreds of chickens.
Well, yeah, if you count the biddies.
We were hatching out chickens.
Yeah, we were hatching out biddies. Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, we definitely have grown a lot and since then and learned a lot. That's a major thing. We have learned so many different things. So,
And we were out here. Another funny story. We were out here doing fencing on that first stretch, and fencing became marriage counseling.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you just getting married or thinking about getting married, before you get married, just take your
do
fiance.
A project.
Yeah. Do a project. Particularly fencing. It's like, we got into a good marriage counseling session. Cause we were facing a problem or something, and we couldn't figure it out. And most of the time we're facing a problem. My wife, she likes to talk. She likes to talk about the problem. But me, I like to get quiet and think about the problem. So my wife, she starts talking. And she just won't be quiet, talking. But I'm trying to be quiet and think about it. And so my wife, she said, every time I walk off, I always come back and you got the project done or you done figured it out. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And she finally figured it out. And she was like, it's because I talk, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, you walk off and you stop talking and I can think. So I try to say, I try to hurry up and get the project done before you come back and start talking.
Yeah, I see that's your version. Yeah, I finally figured it out, right? I talked too much. No, you told me that I talked too much.
You tell somebody not telling the whole story and they start changing their voice like, yeah.
Oh, I finally figured it out.
Well, you're the greatest husband ever. That's what she said. I was like, wow.
No, but it's good. But yeah, we you know, you just learn to communicate and you learn how to not get frustrated with each other because you know
away from there.
It's a temptation to get frustrated while you're doing the stuff. But you know, it's a lot of stuff that we can't just say, I'm not gonna do this anymore. Right? Like we actually have to continue on and find a way to continue on and do it. And like, you know, seeing a project through is just a version of that where you learn like not to give up, not to quit, but to continue on, figure out ways to continue on. Even if you're not talking about the problem like my husband says, you know, but you just continue working and figure out a way to continue together. So that's our marriage counseling 101.
That's right, for real.
It's a lot you can do while taking off those little barbs, right? A lot of talking.
This is my least favorite part of fencing. Taking these barbs off. But as y'all see, they're creating the smooth so that I'll be able to tie off.
Right, so we'll wrap those through and then tie them off and wind them around the
Right now, I just have it
pole
secured with
and the fence.
with the fencing nails into the pole. But those fencing nails can wiggle free over time and loosen your fence. So you want to have it tied around as a backup.
Yep, that's it. So we've taken each one of these wires that we cleaned off before and pulled the, extra fencing off to make it just a clean wire. And we pulled it through the fence and out. And now we are wrapping it around the fencing to make it tight, just to secure it actually, so that it won't come loose and that the nails that we have, if they slip over time, it'll still be bound together. So we're doing now, we'll just go through each line and take it and wrap this wire around itself around the fence.
Take it in it like that right there. And start looping it. Try to get the loops tight as you can. Use the little part that you bent. It's kind of like a lever to grab onto. That'll help you get it a little tighter. And I just kind of get that and twist it to where it's facing in the inside, just in case we ever out there with like a trailer or something, we brush up against it, it won't flatten your tire. If some of these are kind of loose at the end, you come back to the fencing pliers and just grab that whole little bundle and just twist. Twist. It's gonna get tighter and tighter as you twist it. Toolbox of it.
Strong.
It's a whole lot easier.
I can reach it almost real level.
How's the swing, Titus?
Feel good?
Yeah.
Feel like you let some cows in and out? That way. Just around. Just around. Good. No, you had one out of it. Pull it out. Don't push the button when you put it in. Yeah. Alright. Take it, pull that out too.
Right here.
Set the drill down. Just set it down. Let it go. Your hand was stuck there. Now pull your bit out. Alright.
So we got the 2 farm gates up now. Looks good to me. All right, what do y'all think, boys? You got the farm gates up?